The biggest thing that I have had to learn as a business owner is restraint. And if I didn't have that restraint, I would lose people, bro.
Create a fucking problem and then find a solution to fix that problem.
Yeah.
But you need to create problems in your workspace. Good problems, keep in mind, not bad problems.
Yeah. Hey, how's it going? It's Tim Brown, and this is the Hook Better Leads podcast. And today I have Noe Madrigal. Can you say your name?
Yeah, Noe Madrigal.
Noe Madrigal of A&A Roofing. And you purchased that, so you didn't make that name originally, is that true?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. And we're talking about how to and why to have a repair program at your roofing company. And you have unique experience in this, partly because you have the crews, like you have crews in your business. You don't necessarily like have subcontractors,
right?
Or are they subcontractors?
No, we don't do any subcontract now.
But you like repairs for other reasons. But could you give me like a minute or two, just your background, where you're coming from, and like your frame of perspective for other roofing company owners out there?
Yeah, absolutely. So I tell people I got into roofing by accident because I never had the intention of owning a roofing company. Matter of fact, prior to graduating high school, I lived in a very small community. My graduating class was about 70, 75 people. My whole existence of living in that town, I never saw one roof get put on. So I didn't know what was roofing, and I used to work at a gas station. And a big old truck pulled up, super nice. Guys get out. And I'm like, man, that's a nice truck. What do you do for work? And they're like, roofing. And I was like, wow. I was like, and when I heard roofing, I thought of people being on a roof, exactly, kind of like that, nothing else. And so I was like, man, I'm afraid of heights, man. I was like, I couldn't ever do that job. We fast forward, I moved to the Tri-Cities, and I get the opportunity to work in distribution. I started loading shingles. I used to be the guy that stacked the bundles of material on top of the roof for the roofing companies. I did that for 6 months, and then I got moved into inside sales, where I took the product down, learned the specs. I got the coverages, I wrote will call orders and did all that sort of thing. And I did that for another 6-7 months. And then I went to go work for a roofing company as their manager. And it was an interesting situation because the owner at the time was retiring and selling it to his foreman. And his foreman was a Hispanic speaking guy who just wanted to keep doing what he loved to do, which was installing. He wanted somebody to run the business and him just keep on installing. And that's where I came to the picture. And for a month, I had the old owner just hound me on what the processes are on QuickBooks, on how to measure a roof. I didn't know how to measure. I didn't know what square feet was. I didn't know what drip edge, none of that. Like I knew what that was, but I didn't know how to do a takeoff and a proposal for a customer, let alone do payroll and do the taxes and everything that comes with it, contracts and all that stuff. So I did that for about a year and 2 months. And then towards the end, I had a horrible experience, to say the least. And so I was like, you know what, screw this, I'm leaving.
What was the horrible experience?
It was to do with
names, right?
It was to do with management, right? Yeah. For 7 months we increased our numbers, $400,000-$500,000. We got way more builders because we did a lot of new construction. We got way more builders, and the company grew a lot. And I was working, so when I got the opportunity to work for them, they said, "Hey, we're going to give you $3,000 a month." And at the time I was making $1,800, so that was $1,200 a month more than what I was making. I'm like, and so it was super hard because I loved MacArthur. I loved what I did, but it was an opportunity that I had to go to do this. And when I started working there, it was $3,000 gross, not net. So when you took off the taxes, I was making $200, $300 more, working 60 to 70 hours. So when you did my math, it averaged about $9 to $11 an hour.
Now this math is hard for business owners as well. When we look at those taxes. And it's crazy how much, man, I mean, we could always shake our fist at the powers that be because I fucking hate taxes, but it doesn't do me much good. At the end of the day, I gotta start doing really, a lot of roofing companies do our math, or people do their math without taking out taxes and realizing like, you don't have that, we don't have as much as we thought.
Yep. Yeah, when my quarterlies come in, because we pay out knife, for every hour on the roof, we pay about $3.50. So every quarter, my taxes just for workers' comp is about $17,000 to $20,000. And you don't account for things like that. Then you just go, oh man, my quarterly is due. And then you got payroll tax. And
the other shitty part about it is, as an employee, like when I wish I just want to circle the top number. We were trying to give you this much. Unfortunately, there's,
Yep.
Yeah, it sucks because then employees look at you like, you didn't give me, as much money as I'd like. And it's like, damn, man, it's not me.
Yeah, and so I didn't realize that, and so all of a sudden I'm in this spot, and I was like, dude, I was making $9, 11, working 60 to 70 hours a week, and I was like, you know, I'm not making a lot of money right now. I know I'm not making a lot of money, and I had the skills to make a lot of money at the time, but I was just like, this is free college. I'm running somebody else's business without the liability of it being my own. And so I was like, this is free college. I didn't go to college, by the way. So I was like, this is my opportunity to just embrace and learn, and maybe later on it'll help.
Probably way better than real college, by the way.
Right.
Except for the parties.
Exactly.
The parties are good.
Yep. No, well, I wouldn't be able to tell you because I didn't go to college, but for sure it was one of those opportunities that was better than college in my experience compared to my friends' experiences, right? And so I stuck with it, and it was about 6-7 months in. I'm having a ton of fun. She goes, hey, I'd like to bring my wife inside the office, and I'd like for you to teach her so she can help you. And at the time, I was way overloaded. And so I was like, okay, this could be a good opportunity. And it's not like I can tell her no. She's my boss too, you know? So it was like, okay. And so keep in mind, this lady has never had a job in her life before, has always been a stay-at-home mom, and then all of a sudden you put her into an administrative position for your business. And at the time, they're a $1.4 million business, $1.5 million, so it's not like just super minor league. And it started with her just watching, and I thought she was learning, and then she's like, well, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? How come you're not invoicing this? How we collected on that? And keep in mind, we've never had an issue in the company before. My mindset going to bed was, I'm going to do everything that it takes so that when my boss thinks of his roofing company, he knows it's getting taken care of. He knows I'm on it, because I might not be making money right now, but come Christmas, I'll get a bonus, or I'll get a raise, or I'll get an opportunity to maybe own partnership in the business, you know? And that was a pretty
lofty goal.
Yeah, you know? And so I was just like, I'm a grinder, and that was always my mentality, because I was never I wasn't the tallest or the fastest, but I was varsity in all 3 sports that I did.
And I can attest, he just whooped my butt in a series of basketball games. So for the lack of height, he's got the hustle, and that's what a lot of business owners have to have, right?
Yeah, and he's a sleeper too. He could shoot, but yeah, it was a hustle for me, man. It was just what I knew how to do right, and so. We get into that, and then come Christmas time, no bonus. Come to New Year's, no raise. And so I was just like, dude, it got to the point where I would wake up in the morning and I would get anxiety, dude. I'd go, I cannot be in that office with that lady. She called me one day and said, hey, we're 2 squares short on a job. We're never short. You know, 2 squares is about $230 worth of material. She goes, we're 2 squares short. Who's going to pay for the material? I'm like, what do you mean? It threw me off. What do you mean? I didn't understand her question. Who's paying for it? And I was like, well, the company is. She goes, well, then that means we need to take it out of your commissions. And at the time, my commission for like a $10,000, $11,000 roof, I was getting paid like $150. So,
get the fuck out of here, ma'am.
So I was like, how is that even possible? So when I get jobs that we make heavy margins on them, I don't get nothing extra. So why are you doing that? And that's why we have a profit margin. So you have 35, 40% profit, 50%. You're short, $230 worth of material. It's like 1% of your job value. You know what I mean? It's really insignificant. And so that's when I was like, dude, this is not working out. I have anxiety. I get up in the morning. I used to get on and I'd slip my headphones on. I'd play Call of Duty Warzone because that was salary. And so I did my job good. It didn't matter.
Was she an owner? She wasn't an owner?
She was the owner. She was a wife. She was a wife of the husband.
This is why, though, that when you have good people, don't get so nitpicky on them. When the people are busting their ass, and because it is hard to find people that do that. And so don't I get it. You had a bad day and something went bad, but don't freak out on that person. It's not worth it. I was just telling everyone, I was like, dude, the biggest thing that I have had to learn as a business owner is restraint. And if I didn't have that restraint, I would lose people, bro. Because we all have those feelings as business owners, right? We all we have a lot on our plate, but you can't do that to people.
And here's the thing, before you got here this weekend, and maybe you've heard it since then, because it's something that's create a fucking problem and then find a solution to fix that problem.
Yeah.
But you need to create problems in your workspace, good problems, keep in mind, not bad problems. Get so busy that you're like, man, I don't know what time I'm going to schedule these roofs out. Fix the problem at that point, What I did, and a lot of feedback that I've got is I've had rapid growth, and they're like, well, how many sales guys do you got? Well, I only got 1 sales guy. Now I have 2, and he's been with me for the second guy's been with me for a month. But how are you a sales organization with no salespeople? Well, I'm 97% retail. Doesn't matter, you know? But I was doing, and it's like, oh, well, why haven't you been marketing more? Well, why haven't you been working on a sales script? And my answer to all those things was always, because I've never worked, I was never working in my business. I was working, you know, how does that go? I'm not working.
You weren't working on the business. You were working in the business.
Yes, I wasn't working on the business. I was working in the business. I was an employee. And Jake was like, when you start thinking like an entrepreneur, your business will change. And don't try to fix problems that you don't have yet, you know?
But you're not going to go from 3.5 or something this year or something?
Yeah. Our second year we did 3.5.
You're not going to go to 7 or 10 without doing that, right? Like I don't see a lot of people that are 10 million that are like acting like an employee in the business on like they're not doing most of the little, you know what I mean? Not to say we all have to fill in. It's just trying to build that system. Like I feel like I'm always filling in. I do want to get into the repairs thing. So let's do that fairly soon, but I'll let you wrap this part up.
Yeah. No, and it was all going to tie into the repairs and stuff. But what I was saying is like you brought up it was like there was no problem with me. Everything got done. We were never behind on projects. We never had any bad reviews. So it's like, why are you bringing into the office to fix something that's not happening? And so that actually drove me away. And so I ended up just being like, you know, I can't take this no more. And I said, hey, look, I'm leaving. And so I was leaving the industry. My sales rep, who was the guy that actually hired me on to work at MacArthur, and then we kept the relationship. When I went to work for this company, he became my sales rep, and we bought material from him. He makes a phone call to Alan, who owns A&A Roofing at the time, and he goes, hey, Noe's leaving, and you're trying to retire. You should give him a call. And so he gives me a call. He goes, hey, I heard you were leaving the industry. And he goes, I'd like to see if you'd be interested in buying my business. And I was like, F no. I was like, I'm trying to leave the industry. I'm not trying to stay in it. And second of all, I don't have enough money to purchase a company. I had $4,000 in my savings account. I'm like, there's no way. He's like, you need to come over for dinner.
I didn't have that much more than when I started my business. But yeah, purchasing is different, yeah.
Yeah, and so he's like, you need to come over for dinner. And so long story short, he spoke belief into me, and then March 1st of 2021, we buy A&A Roofing, which stands for Allen and Aiden Roofing Services. And I kept the name because I had the reputation already.
So where's the lady that was...
Yeah, what's that?
Where's the office lady?
The lady that...
Yeah.
The one that I was working for? Yeah, so I left that company.
Okay.
Yeah, so I left that company, and then that's when I came and I started my own roofing company.
I thought A&A was the one.
No, A&A is my company.
Gotcha.
And so I ended up leaving, and we started A&A Roofing. And since then, we started in-house. I started off with one guy, the only guy that stayed with me when we bought the roofing company. And so he stays with me, and we go from one guy to 14 guys. Two of those, I have 4 crews within those 14 guys. 2 crews do residential re-roofs and my repairs, and my other 2 do my standing seam and commercial, and they do my commercial repairs. And so for us, our biggest jobs came from repairs. My 3 biggest jobs have came from repairs. My first biggest job was 5 months after I started my business. They called us over because they had these condos that kept on having ice damming issues. And everybody went, and they've been repairing them, and they invested heat tape into them, and we go over and we look at them, and we're like, hey, this is your problem, X, Y, and Z. I said, but you're going to continue to have this problem because they didn't put ice and water 2 foot past the interior wall. And I'm like, so you're going to have that until you replace the roof. And the problem is, though, that you're going to spend just as much money doing the repair than you would do redoing it entirely, you know. And the reason why we got that lead was because a year before that, when Alan still owned it, they did a repair on it. So we were on that list. And when I went over and I gave them the estimate, and when I walked them through the whole process, they went with us. That was a $600,000 job that came off of a repair. Our second repair was a church. Our second repair was a church. We went out there and we were just had some blown off shingles. Our area is really, really windy. And they're like, hey, we have some blown off shingles. It was like 3 shingles. I didn't even charge them. Like, hey, it's 3 shingles. I'm not even going to charge you. We have the extra material.
Contractors love the catch-all because it makes every single one of their roof builds easier and more profitable. Protective netting wraps facade and landscaping to prevent from left-behind nails and damage. Homeowner referrals bring you more jobs, and insurance supplements bring you more profits. But my favorite part, the branding.
We're talking about the church and the fact that you replaced like 3 shingles for free, and then you've started to do more churches. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, and so it's funny since this conversation when your phone died and we're like, oh man, we were afraid that we didn't record another podcast. Well, since that day we had that conversation, something similar happened. A repair. We were just talking about a repair. I that was on Sunday, and on Tuesday I get an email in the morning that says, Noe, we have a couple leaks in our building. Would you come and fix those? And we had already repaired his building once before this email. And when I went, I was just honest, and as you always should be, right? And I was like, look, man, your roof is shot and you have these penetrations. We can patch these penetrations, but this next year you'll need to replace your roof. I think that we can get it through the wintertime, through the rain and the snow, but next year you're going to have to replace it. So I'm going to send you a repair to replace what you got now and a replacement so you can start planning ahead. Okay, perfect. Sounds good. So he approves the repair. We go do the repairs on Tuesday. He emails me again, says he has some more leaks in his building and he wants to go ahead and see if he can pay for the roof before the year ends. And so I was like, yeah, sure. And so I was a little bit confused. And I'm like, dude, you don't have to pay me for full, you can just give me 50%. You just give me the deposit. We'll be good.
Tax liability, though, baby.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And so I'm like, where's this guy going with it? He's like, yeah, I understand. He goes, but would you give me a discount if I paid for it in full? And I'm like, well, it just threw me off because nobody had asked me this before. And so, anyways, I say yes. And so, $41,000 later, he gives me a check, and we're not doing his roof until 5, 6 months from now. And it started from a repair. It started from a repair, And
No,
so,
so that tax liability thing and like offsetting that business owners, right? Like that's a beautiful
right.
thing about business owners. They know that that's the case. So Noe, if you for some reason need to offset some of those gains with Hook Agency, we do offer a 7% discount. Um, if you work with us. So if you wanted to pay a year, and this is for my clients too right now, if for some reason you want to pay a year up front, we offer a 7% discount. If that's your thing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. If it makes sense, why not, right? And for him, he had the money. It was there, it was available, and so he went ahead and did it. But that church, same story, man. Long story short, we went there, 3 shingles. We gave them, we did it for free. That set us up in their head as, man, these guys came out and they helped us, and they didn't charge us anything. All they asked was when we do the roof to give them a call, and so we did, and we did the roof that church and it was huge. It was a big project for us.
How big like just thinking about that year in advance or like the discount that you gave, how big of a discount did you give them for doing up front? Just curious.
It was 5%.
Yeah, that's very good. I feel like for a guy like that who's he really just has cash on his books that he would like to not have on his books anyway.
But think about this. It was he saved 5% initially right there up front,
Yeah.
but he also locked his price in with us. So that price, whether it's in he does it in freaking December of next year, if he gets 2, 3 price increases, because we don't control price increases, the distributors do and the manufacturers, then he's good. He'll that 41,000 is he's going to get that in March, or if he decides to do that in July, he's going to get it in July. So it's also one of those things that we offer. Hey, we'll lock your price in if you give us. Typically, it's a deposit. Most of the time, it's not like
The whole thing.
a whole thing. But hey, we'll take it.
Yeah, and I mean, like, people could wonder about that strategy too. Like, well, why do you want the cash on your books? Like it's to each his own. I'm like, you go back and forth to different sides of your business, and this exact moment, I want more cash. I want more, you know what I mean? Like, so it depends on where you're at in your business. If you're early in your business, those first 3 years, you're trying to like, that is definitely a spot where you're like usually trying to get rid of the cash, right? Like, to be real with you, it's tough because it is like it's like taxes just feel like such a big giant amount sometimes. It's crazy.
And that's a great look at it. But also, if you are 3 years in business and you're just new, you need all the cash that you get because
Yeah.
you need the cash flow. Sometimes you might be in a tight position where for us, end of year is our last quarter of taxes, our Department of Labor, workman comp, all the things we have to renew for our insurance, and so it's always good to have that. Um, as capital, right? And if we don't use it, then great. And if we do, but I'd rather have it than need it and not have it.
Yeah. For some, yeah, where I'm at in my business right now, I like cash a lot. Like I get, it's also like as you're growing, like I'm in a spot where we're hiring like 3 people that are starting like next month, right? 3 people. And it feels
Right.
like, chunk, right? And then you're hiring, like I try to hire a little bit ahead, but you don't want to hire too far ahead
Mm-hmm.
because then you like that's a drain on your cash. But like I like cash because then I can hire a little bit ahead. It's very tough. I like to say I want to feel out capacity. It's my like I know my employees know what feel out capacity means. It means we're gonna be slammed for a little bit and it's gonna hurt. You know,
Right.
but it's really important to feel out capacity because you could experience growth, but your current team could handle that growth. You got to make sure that you need new people.
If you truly believe in what you're doing and you want to be the best version of yourself and you want to build a great organization, there's no other place to do that besides the Roofing Academy.
What we were just talking about right before we like came up here, it was just the fact that, like, one thing that you wanted your team to feel is that, don't worry about the problems that you don't have right now.
Yeah.
Create the problems, create these problems, and then find the solution to fix them. Because if you spend time planning all these problems that you maybe never have, then you just wasted all that time.
Oof. It's good for like personal and business because yeah, like so that was a big theme of roof camp from what I saw. And I really like for some reason that just stuck with me. Like I think it was Jake Bryden from Heritage Construction. He just said, it's my job to create problems. We need to create more problems and not worry about we had like this idea for a sale. The next client that gets in gets 5K off their website, which is unheard of. We've never done that before. And my video guy was like, "What if 5 people take us up on that idea?" And I was like, "I don't think 5 people are going to take us like, and if they do, we'll figure it out then." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everyone's trying to get ahead of the crazy thing that might happen if you suddenly just like you and I both know you're not just selling, oh, oops, I just sold $700,000 of roofs and now we don't know who's going to do the roofs. Like it doesn't usually happen like that. And if it does, we'll figure it out. You know what I mean? Like we have to make problems. We need new ideas or we need new problems for 2024, bro. We need new problems.
Yeah, 100%. But I mean, repairs as simple as it is, it's essential. Whether you're subbing it out or whether you're doing it in house, it's a big thing. It's a referral system. It's a review source. They're good profit margins, and then they're also the opportunities that will set you up in the future. Like I said, countless of times for me, and we're not even finished with our 30-year business, and that just came off from repairs. Right now that we're kind of slow in these markets, we got snow and rain and wind this whole week. My guys have been doing repairs because we can't open up a roof. But guess what? They're still being able to work. And I guarantee you, though, they like 6 hours than 0 hours in a day, And so that's another part of it. You keep your guys busy as well.
It is a great one. Yeah, I've been out to repair while it was icy and there's snow all over the roof, and we're up there on a chimney, cocking the chimney around the like, dude, like that's all fair game. You just can't, yeah, you can't rip off the whole roof at this point. I like that. Dude, slow season repairs probably kill. I love that.
Yeah, and it's retainage. Your guys that need versus them going somewhere else. Well, dude, we can't do. What do you want me to do? I can't control the snow. Well, you're right, but you can control other things that you can offer for your guys to do, so they can stay busy. So those top guys that you have don't go looking for work somewhere else. And then
Yeah.
next thing you know, their competitors are doing repairs and they're keeping them busy all year, and now you can't get that guy back.
I'm sure we talked about this a little bit at the ranch, but like just like any other things that you think are like will be new problems for folks getting into repairs and how you would help them solve those. Like what new problems can they expect if they take on this repair division?
Yeah. First thing is, warranty issues. People will, overpromise and underdeliver. And for me, I just make it aware that one, we don't offer any warranties on repairs. If we repair 3 shingles, I'll give you the warranty for those three exact shingles. If they blow off, I'll come put them back on. But if you have a house that's already blowing off, hence why we came and did the repair, and you get the next windstorm 10 shingles, you go, well, no, well, I have 10 shingles and you came and repaired my roof just, 2 months ago. What's going on? It's like, yeah, I repaired the area that was damaged at the moment, but this is all new damage. And so documenting stuff is very important. One, and then taking really, really specific estimate details, because these repairs, when you go out there, you need to have everything and write it down in your estimate or whatever you do to take the labor, to give the labor ticket to your guys, because then sometimes they might schedule the repair a month, 2 months, or maybe 4 months down the road, and you're like, oh, what shingle was that? What color was that shingle? And then now you have to go back to the house to reevaluate all the things that you should have done initially. And then the other thing is just, just like anything, repairs typically are people that are trying to be cheap. And so you got to have standards. So, for example, on certain things we don't budge, like our fascia board. If you have if you have a fascia board that's this long, and you want to get that only specific thing repaired, I'm sorry, but we're doing the whole run of whatever section that is, because I've had way too many times where we do it and the product doesn't match, or it's not the same thickness, and it kind of looks funny, and now it looks like a patch job, and the homeowner's like, man, that looks like crap. And it's like, yeah, it does look like crap. That's something that I knew, but I'm sorry I didn't explain it to you. So now we just go, hey, look, it's the full section. We're gonna do it, because then you're gonna get mad at me because I didn't make it aware for you, type of deal like that. So you just got to have your expectations on what you will repair and what you won't repair. If the house is about to fall down and you're like, look, I'm not even gonna touch this. I can't even touch it. There's nothing that I can do to repair it. If you want to replace it, you're gonna need to replace it. And you got to be firm with those people. Can you do something? I'll put a tarp, but that's about the extent of it. I'm not gonna mess with any shingles, because then again, you're in a way liable for certain.
What percentage of those do you turn down like that? Like, what percentage would you say?
There's like very rare. If I have 3 or 4 instances of those in a year for us, that's pretty much average. But most of the time, people are reasonable. Oh man, like they could ask you because they don't know roofs, man. Hey, can you come do my repair? And you show up and you're like, whoa, this is far beyond repair, ma'am. And they'll go, wow, I did not know that. Thanks for coming. Can you give me an estimate for replacement? So like we've talked about at camp, a lot of these times that you get called out for repairs will sometimes end up turning into full roof replacements.
I think that the biggest apprehension for roofers not wanting to get into repairs is cannibalization. It may cannibalize things that could have been a re-roof. So despite that, you're recommending having a repair division. How could we help convince them? Let's do one final push for folks that are so scared to do this because it will cannibalize their other part of their business.
I don't think that's true, but the last push that I would say somebody's, you're already doing the hardest part of the job. You're putting on roofs. How hard is it to swap out a pipe boot? Profits are high, margins are high. You get into the door, you get an email, you get an address, and you get data. So then if there's ever a storm or whatever in that area, you can go back to those customers that you already serviced and did repairs on, and then boom, hey, we did a repair on your house X amount of year. We understand that did your house get damaged? Would you like for us to come out and do an inspection for you? And all of a sudden they trust you because you did a good job on the repair and you already have a foot in the door. And so the bottom thing is repairs will get you the foot in the door, whether it's now or whether it's a year from now. You don't know. There might be commercial building. It might be a super small. Sometimes it might just be, a repair. But it's essential for me if you're trying to take your business from here to here.
Totally. And hey, it's a rate of we're reviewing, but it's the rate of the amount of reviews that you have. It's the referrals. We want to suggest here that repairs are part of your lead gen strategy and part of your reputation strategy. And what is that quote? Like, a reputation is worth more than gold or something like that.
Yeah.
Something along those lines where it's like, it is an endless source of business if you have a great reputation and people want to refer you. And this is one way to continue to hone that reputation because people love getting a cheap option, really, if you have one.
Have you heard the question from the guys that are mainly insurance in like Texas in the Midwest? And they see somebody that's like us, like that's 97% retail, and they'll go, how are you retail? How can I want to be retail and I want to do this because it's more, I can control it more. I don't have to worry on knocking. And it's like, okay, you want me to answer that question? How, what's the first step into going into retail is repairs. I think that's your first step.
That's really good because sometimes people think it's marketing. They think that if they want to go from they want to go from insurance to retail, that they're going to market their way out of where they're at. I like that answer much better than them trying to fix it with marketing.
Yep. 100%, man.
It's really good.
Great.
Any other things you want to share about repairs before we wrap this up? Otherwise, I think this is like a really good, quick primer on getting into repairs. I recommend it. Noe, you guys have done really well with it. What's your guys' .com?
www.aandaroof.com.
Awesome. Anything else you want to share?
No, man, I don't got no ghost pepper jerky this time. I know we did that last time.
We missed it. Yeah, we ate some ghost pepper jerky. And we did live reactions, and I'll just say this: it was a sneaker because like at first you ate it, and then you're like, oh, it's fine, and then like a couple minutes later, as you're swallowing it, it's like, but it was delicious too. It was really good. I wish I had some of that right now.
Yeah, man. Well, yeah, that's it for me, man.
Thank you, brother. I know you're probably like me where you're just like still processing the stuff from Roof Camp. I had a great time. I hope they do that again. I like anything to do with outside and like kind of more like fellowship style around the campfire vibes. And that was a really good vibe.
Yeah.
Shout out to David Taggart for putting that on, A5 Roofing, and all the people that were involved with that. And yeah, Noe, keep in touch, brother. Let me know how I can be of service.
Okay.
And thank you everyone for watching and listening. It's the Hook Better Leads podcast, hookagency.com. Please like, comment, subscribe, and rate and review the podcast, or wherever you're at, just interact with it because that really helps us get it seen by more people. All right, bye.
All right.